Not talking too loud.
What
All right.
was up, party people?
Whoop.
Mm. Whoa, whoa,
I just have to say before
woohoo.
we start that I'm really proud of the fact that we are on day 3 of
See,
consistently doing
consistency,
this.
baby.
Awesome. All
Hmm.
right.
Hey, you guys, welcome to the County Route Report. I'm Chris,
And I'm Linda.
and we're about to blow your mind. Anyway, that's our intro music. We hope you like it. Worked a long time on that.
We're so, technically advanced. So just right now before we started this episode, we thought we should move it upstairs. So tomorrow we're probably going to try a whole new location.
Yeah, I don't like the lighting here. It's driving me up a
He's not
wall.
stopped complaining. But hey, we got it better. We have an easel for our sign today, so it shouldn't fall down. Fall down.
Yeah.
Hey, Ella, you going to help me out here?
Hey, so anyways, welcome. Thanks so much for being a part of this. Are we actually even are we on right now?
We're on.
Okay.
Got 8 eyes.
Oh,
on
look
us.
at that. How cool is that? All right, so we want to talk to you about obviously the letter of the day, which is, wait for it, day 3. C.
Is that right?
Yeah. I think we're doing a gang sign right now,
That's
so
right.
we should probably
C.
start.
Letter C, and the most important C word in the world besides Chris is
Cabbage.
coffee.
Oh yeah, for the reals. Coffee. I saw something the other day. It was like a meme that basically said if there's a limitation on coffee like there was on toilet paper, then it would be the end of the world.
Be bad. It would really be bad.
Okay.
We have a guest with us today. This is Ella. So she's kind of gone overboard up with her makeup. Letter of the day C, clown, because this is what Ella has been doing for probably the last couple of days. Yeah. Yesterday I was outside working in the garden, and I come walking back to the house, and there she is hanging behind a chair trying to scare me. She's been working on April Fool's jokes for probably about 2 days now, and I think she's kind of settled on this being her thing. So we have clown Ella. Woo!
Okay.
Yay for Ella.
We're pretty much freaking out the entire
are we?
Viewing populace here.
I don't see that.
Look, we lost a couple people already. They're terrified.
All right, you should go.
All right, thanks for coming.
Thanks.
All right, so see ya, which is funny enough, not the letter C, but it sounds like it should be.
So clowns and coffee.
All right, let's go back to coffee. We love coffees. Thanks for the nightmares. For real, like it's legit. Like that's not a happy clown picture face mask thing. It's scary is what I'm trying to say. Anyway, long story short, let's go back to coffee. So we, a long time ago in the day, we were going to do this thing called copy snobs. We're going to do a whole deal on that because like Linda and I we're pretty hardcore for coffee. Now, we have a friend from high school that was even more hardcore. His name was Carmen. He still is. I think he travels with his own beans, which is pretty funny when he traveled. Before, in the old days, remember when we could travel? And
Corona. I know, Corona.
We're not saying that word right now.
Yeah, we're kind of trying to avoid that one.
Thank you, Mary. Thanks, Mary. Yeah, our producer over there, Mary, is yelling out C words. So anyway, coffee is a big deal for us. What kind of coffee do you guys like? Do you like it strong or do you like it weak? Now, here's the thing. I don't even think you can call coffee if it's basically low octane. If it's weak. What do you think?
I like it strong, but I like it to be. Am I interrupting your texting?
I have to send somebody something while we're doing this. This is horrible.
I like it strong, but I like it to have cream. I can't do straight black coffee. It's too harsh. So I've managed to do coffee without sugar, but I have to have the cream. Would you like to share with the class what you're doing, honey?
Okay, so I'm trying to send.
I don't want you to.
Well, it goes with C. I created a confirmation retreat. And basically, the long story short is this retreat is all online. It's a virtual retreat. So anybody who does ministry, I'm basically sending it to people for
And you can't wait a half hour to do that?
well, because it was Brad, and we were just on the phone, and he's now asking me why I haven't sent him anything. So anyway, long story short is I did this retreat. It's like a virtual retreat. It has 3 days for the kids. Boom, 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 and then it has something for the sponsors and. So, and actually, if you're doing youth ministry work at all, then you've probably drank coffee for a survival food group, basically. So,
as we have here, someone likes coffee ice cream or coffee with chocolate. All those are delicious, but coffee ice cream. So I thought that made me think of.
Oh, I do like coffee ice cream.
I do
actually.
I love espresso type of ice cream. But last night, yesterday. It took us 2 days to do it because we didn't know what we were doing, but we made ice cream, homemade ice cream. We decided not to make it with the actual electric churner thing because it required things that we didn't have, like rock salt. So we just did the stir and mix type of method where you put it in the freezer and you stir it every 30 minutes until it's frozen into ice cream. And it was vanilla maple. We sweetened it with maple syrup, and it was a hit. The problem was that everybody ate like so much of it because they're so used to eating ice cream like big bowls that by the time they were done they were all like, oh.
That's true,
because it had actual cream and milk in it, whereas a lot of ice creams are some preservatives.
All of a sudden I was like, I feel so full. Actually, that could be like a survival food group is ice cream, although homemade ice cream would have to be the one. Yeah, it was kind of surprising to me. Normally I like to fill the bowl, basically.
Yeah. So that's the benefit with the homemade ice cream is that you'll eat less of it. So
challenge accepted.
Otherwise you'll be
Let's go back to coffee. I mean, basically, how many of you, okay, somebody just said no coffee for me. I drink a cup of tea a day. Wow. I don't even know.
Tea is what I wish. See, I wish I was like, I'm an Anglophile. I love anything English. And so I wish I liked tea. There's so many cool like loose leaf teas and all the tea stuff. But I just don't like it.
I think there's a part of making tea that is basically it's kind of like a cathartic process. People make tea like you would. It's why people maybe like records still, is that there's like a process when it comes to, you don't just, oh, I'll just play that song. There it is digitally. It's immediately available. There's something about the whole ambiance. I'm going to take the record. I'm going to hold the record, look at it, open it up, look at the credits and the pictures. And then we take it out, make sure it's clean. You put it on. It's like there's a process, and that process is kind of peaceful. And I think there's something about that with tea. I think there's actually some whole backgrounds to it where people's, making tea is almost like this, peaceful process and cathartic act. So anyway, I don't know that I feel that necessarily with coffee, but the smell of coffee is such a rush, it's such a big deal for me. So
coffee is definitely, there's more to it than just the caffeine, I think. So
somebody wants the ice cream recipe. Yes, we will put the ice cream recipe below. So
or I'll put it actually right on the Facebook page somehow. The problem is I have to find it again. It was really a mixture of many different recipes that we anyway, I'll try to put something together for you. It was super easy though.
Yeah.
It
was super easy for me to eat also.
Yeah. All right. So
are we done with coffee? What I wanted to know was what kind of coffee do you like to drink, and do you prefer that you grind it, or do you really care? Do you use the K-cups, or does it have to be percolated, or do you obviously none of us are going to Starbucks as a general rule anymore, or to some sort of mom and pop coffee shop down the road. Some people actually have huge aversion to Starbucks or those kind of coffees because they don't consider it real coffee because it's burnt. Here's a true story. Linda and I, we met this guy locally in Syracuse who basically maybe like, remember the soup Nazi from Seinfeld? This guy, his obsession and like elitist attitude towards coffee was almost terrifying. I walked into this place, first of all, dark. It seemed like almost a little bit dilapidated. You have people like lounging around on the ground over there, and then you're like, is anybody gonna help me? I'm gonna order some coffee, and this guy comes up and he looks a little bit sketch, like he's been in the thick of battle with some sort of coffee ground, harvesting and finally, it's like, waiting for my order. I'm like, I'm okay. I would like to get a cappuccino. You would have thought I asked, I'd like to have your firstborn child. Because this guy, it was like, he had an opinion about every coffee besides his that
you didn't
was
get a cappuccino, right?
no, because he doesn't
make 'em.
offer it.
Yeah, he just espresso. You could have espresso, or you could have his
perfect coffee.
Yeah, his brewed coffee, which was perfect. Yeah, he had an opinion. We were afraid.
What was it? It was like Kind Coffee or something like
yeah,
this. Does that sound familiar?
It was in Syracuse.
Syracuse.
What city do we live in? Syracuse. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so I on the same topic of coffee.
Oh, okay, good.
But I really am committed to this idea of segments. Oh yeah, keep. I don't know why it doesn't.
I don't know
scroll.
why it doesn't scroll for us either. But
thanks, Michael, for the prayers. Awesome.
Ground beans. See, I think that's probably the best you because it maintains the fragrance and the taste, and then you release it when you grind it.
I have to say, I am guilty. Even though I don't think this is what you meant by it, Michael, but people get really hooty tooty about the fact that people say espresso instead of espresso. I am probably the espresso person. So
who says hooty tooty? That's what I want to know.
Okay, so I have. I really want to commit to this idea of like segments. Like a morning show has segments.
Yeah.
So I'm going to jump
We just did our morning banter session.
And so,
am I Regis or am I Kathy Lee?
You're Kathy.
All
definitely right. Kathy. Okay, so I want to make some kind of like a ticker tape. I got to figure out how to do that. A ticker tape that goes along.
The coffee in the Philippines was great, just so you know.
Yes.
Every time we travel, usually we find some pretty
Guam.
Pretty
I still think
coffee.
of the Guam coffee. All right, so here's my my segment on Homestead Update.
Okay, good.
Okay, this is going to be brief, but because it's still on the subject of coffee, and because it's coffee grounds. So,
yeah. Good
so
call.
we for the most part we use K cups, but even in that
you don't have to disclose that to them.
Whatever.
You just ruined any credibility that we had. No. Yeah.
Anyway. So there's still coffee grounds in there, but every once in a while we make a pot of coffee, and we do know how to use other things like French press and percolators and all of that. But anyway, so we have this coffee grounds. What do you do with the coffee grounds? And so in our homestead idea of utilizing everything, if we're in the homestead, utilizing everything with a homestead, we want to use these coffee grounds. And so I looked it up, and we're going to put our coffee grounds. This is news to you.
Yes, in the tub.
What, you're going to soak in it?
That would be interesting.
That would be disgusting.
That could take care of body odor.
I don't think so.
You smell like a tall cup of coffee.
Ugh. Okay, so if you have extra coffee grounds, and you have things in your garden that, like, even just flowers. So hydrangeas, rhododendrons, azaleas. Those are some of my favorite bushes. They're flowering bushes, but they love the acidic ground of coffee. So coffee adds the acidity to the ground. But so do carrots like it, and berry bushes, blueberries especially. And so
it's weird that you say carrots like it, like as if they have some sort of a personality. They do.
They grow better. They're living things, and they grow better in better environments.
Do they tell stories?
Maybe they do. If you were to listen, I bet they'd have some really good stories. But they're really deep thinkers. Okay.
That was a great joke, actually. Nice job.
So anyway, that's my update. Is that
I thought you were putting in the coffee grounds for the purpose of trying to, have the snail aversion, so we don't. And I don't even know. Do we have such a huge problem with snails?
We do, because I can never get my cabbage to grow properly. This gets eaten, and so my eggshells are going to do that. But the coffee grounds are good. It adds acidity to the soil. And so certain bushes and certain plants like the acidity.
It would seem weird to me. It would seem like acidity to soil would not be positive for growth.
Okay.
It would seem like
as I said at the beginning, there are certain plants that like acidity.
Do you know what? I can honestly tell you that when you were talking about that, I was not listening.
I can guarantee that too, honey, because that's my normal life.
Do you know what? And this is interesting. Yesterday, as we talked about our daily adventure time with you, Linda told me that we have a tendency to speak over one another, and I can tell you that's exactly what she's doing, but that's not what I do.
Sure. Okay.
Here's some cool reusable K pods with tiny biodegradable biodegradable
yeah, we have the reusable K pods.
Right. Win-win. Yes.
But ultimately,
Hey, by the way,
we're lazy.
Deborah, can you put on this the list where people can go if they want to order any of the cups or paintings that you guys are doing? We talked a little bit about that yesterday. Every day I'm trying to use a little cup that that my dad has made, and as we mentioned yesterday, Deborah is an author and a great painter, and so if you're wanting to since you're spending so much time at home, if you want to enhance the beauty of your surroundings, I recommend highly these fine artists in the Minnesota area. So I don't know if you can put that on the there for the link, but that'd be great. What did you want to say? You're obviously signaling me about something.
Okay, we're going on to a new segment.
Wait a minute. Did we finish this
coffee.
segment?
Yeah, we're leaving coffee.
I thought we were doing. Oh, we were in the homestead segment.
Yeah, that's why I talked about coffee grounds.
But should we?
That's about reusing and utilizing everything at your means, and that's
Okay.
what coffee grounds. So that was my new update for homestead. Every day I'm learning. And okay, so are you thinking something? What are you thinking?
Well, first of all, Michael, the great cheerleader, said he's glad I changed my shirt. Do you know how close I came to still wearing that zombie shirt? I mean, it's been about 3 days in a row. At this point, usually, who would care? Who would even know? How many of you have changed your clothes every single day?
Why do I have a hat
not
on today?
everybody.
Yeah.
Why do you have a hat on?
Because my hair is horrible.
I'll tell you, want to look at some horrible hair? Look at this.
Yeah, put my hat back
this
on.
still has the stuff in it.
Okay. All right, we're going to go on. We're going to go
Number
on
3.
to, I want to talk about, really quick about.
Chris is so hopped up on caffeine, he's checking me up, cracking me up. All right,
Okay.
yeah, I have a problem right now. I'm pretty.
Okay. Anyway,
I can't read.
we're going to talk about arts and entertainment. This segment,
Ooh,
arts and entertainment.
perfect.
Okay. Which you did we did talk about. We did talk about the artwork yesterday as
Yes, we
part
did.
of arts, or maybe it was the first day we did that because it was
Arts
A.
and
Yeah.
entertainment.
So, but in this segment, I wanted to talk about the letter C. What came to me was cartoons. You know, most of us who are our age grew up reading cartoons on the newspaper. Let us know what were some of your favorite cartoons from the newspaper. But there are still people who draw cartoons, and we have somebody who does
true.
that for a living in our own church, in our own parish, right here locally. And he's been doing it for years. He's professional. Hallmark cards, like different card companies have hired him. And so I just wanted to throw the shout out to you, since the letter C and its cartoons. We have Dan Reynolds. He is Divine Comedy Dan. You have to find him on the website. But here's one of his most recent ones.
Moses after 40 years
in the desserts. Yes.
Jeez.
Isn't that great? He really is so good. He's so fast too. So throughout this quarantine, he's been putting them out. If you find him on social media, it's so good. I just want to throw one more up here. This is another really good one. Social Distancing Club. Frankly, I've never had an issue with people staying away from me. Look at all the people that are there. Isn't that great? This is Dan Reynolds and Divine Comedy. You can look him up on Facebook or on the internet. And so it's good, clean fun, and I just wanted to give that shout out to him because it's so good.
Yeah, so we got Dan Reynolds, we got the Pagets in Minnesota. What Emily Berelian Zits? What do you mean by zits? That's all she put. Zits. Are you saying coffee grounds are good for zits?
Oh.
That would be interesting. If I'd have known about that in high school, things would have been way different. I'd have been,
All right.
I would have been fancy with the ladies. I'm not sure you use fancy with the ladies. That's probably not the proper terms.
All right, we're still in arts and entertainment, and I want to talk about what we started watching last night.
I forgot what we were watching. Mom, where am I? Who are you?
Who's that shirt?
What did we watch last night?
Oh, the comic.
Who's
Zits.
the comic?
I don't know Zits. We'll have to look that up.
That's a comic? His name is Zits? Listen, I feel like this is the most disjointed, county route report ever. Comics is
There we go. We can
talk about comedy.
Can we talk about just a second though?
What did we watch last night?
Twin Peaks.
Oh my gosh.
We've started the show before, and I don't think we made it through the whole pilot. Last night we watched the whole pilot, and we're going to continue just because.
How many of you have watched Twin Peaks? Please tell me if you have watched Twin Peaks, because
and please tell us if it's worth it.
People love Twin Peaks.
The music is torture.
Okay.
It's like a guy in a synthesizer. That's like the only music that's there. And he
exactly
he builds
the case.
it, you know, like, to be really hyper emotional.
That's what I said on Twitter last night. I was like, whoever wrote and played the synth part in Twin Peaks made bank. That guy is freaking rich. It's like, you know what? We don't need a band. We don't need anything. Just give me more synth. It's literally the cowbell skit from SNL with like another synth pad. Another synth pad. What's the matter with Linda's cup? Yeah,
I know, it's Starbucks.
That's true. So here's the thing: is that we will fix that tomorrow. We'll have nothing but homemade cups tomorrow.
We do have several, yes. But I do like saving them for you because they're your favorite.
They are my favorite. Nobody's really allowed to touch my stuff.
And we have to be very careful with them. We do treat them very carefully. All right, so let's go to see with
comedy.
Comics.
Let's talk about comedy.
Yes.
Okay, so just put below if you
Melanie.
can. Who's your favorite comedian? All right, so let me just back up. So when I was a kid, I don't know how I got a hold of these, but obviously I was not watched by my family members, and so I was able to do a whole bunch of crap on my own. So, but I somehow got a tape of I used to listen to tapes of comedians. So I got some stuff of. And of course, they came out first on records, but most kids don't know what records are. But I love records. So anyway, Steve Martin, Richard Pryor, dare I say Bill Cosby. So all of these comedians were kind of like the classics. We loved them. I used to stay up as late as I could to watch like SNL. And actually, the cool thing about it was if I could get my mom or my dad to laugh, I always felt like I won. But most of the time I was driving up a wall. But my grandma, my gosh, she was so generous with her laughs, you know? So as a young kid, I was very influenced by comedians. What? She made fun of me yesterday. She says, you have to tell your whole life story whenever you...
It's like, I want so bad. I wish I had it prepared. I wanted to I need to get music that I can start playing whenever you start talking. It's like, let's trip down memory lane.
Anyway, you were talking about comics.
You're like, when I was a child, like you go way back. We're going to talk about comedians or comedy.
Well, I have to give the origin story for why I like certain comedians.
And this is what you do for a living. You're a storyteller. So, okay. But like we are on limited time here.
Why are we on a limited time? Like literally, we have...
People have other things to do, honey.
So here's the thing. But when Eddie Murphy came out with, the delirious... That was like a life-changing comedic moment. It was unbelievable. I mean, everybody was quoting his stuff. And in fact, and then I think he even came out with a record. Remember, Boogie in the butt, Boogie in the butt. I'll put a locomotive in your butt.
What?
Does anybody actually remember that?
Who? What is that?
It was Eddie Murphy. He had this record with the song. It was a very famous song, Boogie in the Butt. How did you not hear that? What kind of a childhood did you have? Obviously,
I listened to
dysfunctional.
Kiss.
Oh my gosh, you had Satan, Knights in Satan's Service.
Michael Jackson.
Oh my gosh, please. And
my childhood has been ruined.
That documentary
yeah,
was sobering.
Word. Yes, but comedy. So comedians: Steve Carell, yes. The Office. Just really quick, give me the most recent comedy shows you've been watching that you like. Go.
No,
go.
Stop it. There's a guy named Tim Robinson that is pretty flippin' funny. He was briefly on SNL, but he has like some shows that are pretty funny actually. So if you do a search on him, there's a guy named Ralphie May. He passed away, but we first saw him on that first season of what was it? Last Comic Standing. He was a very large boy, and he died unfortunately. Martin Short is one of the ultimate best. In fact, one of the best. I've been listening to tons of audiobooks, comedy audiobooks. Martin Short's is probably one of the all-time best audiobooks I've listened to. I
Did you
Must
get
Say. It's called I Must Say. So he does it. He does the narrating.
But so you get his
It's-
voices too.
it's
so
so
when he's
flippin'
talking
amazing.
about his voices in the book, he does the voices and the reading. It's really
Billy
great.
Crystal's comedy. One of his books was pretty. What was it called? It was anyway. His stuff was phenomenal as well. I just listened to a biography by Artie Lang, and I have to tell you, at the end of that, I was like, this guy's life is nuts and insane, and pretty depressing. The amount of struggles he's had with addiction.
I think most comedians have sad stories like that.
Yeah, Gabriel Iglesias, Fluffy. Yeah, that's good.
Chris is always trying to get me to watch these comedy specials on Netflix, and I've watched a decent amount of them. One thing that I have enjoyed that you've made me watch is Comedians in Cars with Coffee.
Yeah, that's a
Look at all
phenomenal
those
series.
C's, Comedians in Cars with Coffee. And that,
There you go. Boom,
yeah,
boom, boom.
and
Boom,
that
boom, boom.
is,
Jerry Seinfeld.
yeah, he's interviewing different comedians in a very casual
Yeah.
way. So you do get a little bit of their normal persona,
Yeah.
which is really nice. And sometimes you get a little bit of background to their comedy, which Chris loves to hear,
Yeah.
like how a comedian comes up with their,
Yeah.
it's probably the way an artist likes to understand how another artist creates, So
Well, I would say this: like when you watch Comedians in Cars, what's so cool about that is people that you like. It's almost as if you get a few minutes to just be with them one on one. Some of my all-time favorite comedians now are obviously Jim Gaffigan, who's super. I think there's a lot of things similar between us. Brian Regan, except for the fact that one, he's rich and I'm not. He's famous and I'm not. But moving on. So we're just the same. And then there's Brian Regan, who I think when I first heard Brian Regan, I probably about peed my pants laughing because his whole bit with Fig Newtons was like, who eats a Fig Newton one at a time? Like, because I eat them by the sleeve, and oh my gosh, it was just brilliant. And then let's see here, Gilda Radner. I don't know if you saw that, but they had a biography on Gilda Radner not too long ago.
A documentary.
A documentary. Was it on CNN or something like that?
You probably could find it on Prime.
I don't know where I watched, but we watched it. That was powerful.
It was very powerful.
Yeah, it was good.
Very good.
Linda Ronstadt biography was pretty
That was
amazing
really
too.
Great
Documentary.
too. Yeah, that was very good.
Anyway,
stories
so
about people.
comedians. I love comedians, and I love. I mean, so I've had some people refer certain comedians to me that just really resonated, and so I'm open to exploring that all day long.
Yeah, really, he will take.
I'm
any
thinking
suggestions.
about doing an actual comedy night. So we'll explore that some more in the future here. So all right,
awesome. All right,
we're almost done.
So I just have a couple more quick ones, even though
Good.
that was a great topic.
Yes.
We have a segment called Wine and Dine, but of course we're not really eating out these days. But I had to say, I thought with the letter C, my favorite food right now is cauliflower crust pizza.
You would think it sucks. I'm not even gonna lie, but cauliflower.
I meant
crust,
to have one out here to show you, but I'm gonna.
It just sounds like it would be horrible, but it's not.
But the thing is, you have to be particular.
If
there's a particular brand that's so amazing, and so I wish I would meant to actually have a box, but my freezer's stuffed with them. But we got it at Aldi. So if you go to an Aldi, they have in their not freezer section, it's in their refrigerator section. If you can actually find one that's stocked. And
if Linda hasn't been there, there might be some.
They have a whole bunch of in their fridge section. They have a whole bunch of different kinds of pizzas, and so you just dig through all the different pizzas. And there's one brand that has cauliflower crust pizza. It has a pepperoni version and a cheese version. They are amazing. If you like thin, crispy pizza, it's amazing. And
are you being sponsored by them?
no, but I'm on C. Cauliflower crust pizza. It's amazing. So
you know what else starts with C?
Even though we're all supposed to stay. Even though we're supposed to stay in, whenever I have made it out and I make it to an Aldi, I buy them out of their pizzas. Okay, we're going on. I have just a couple more.
You know, this is exactly the reality. You are seeing who we are in reality. Linda is a list person. So she's like, her desires, I have to finish the list. Like, you can see that. She's obsessing. I don't know if you know this, I'm not a type A personality. I mean, that might be a shock to you, but I'm probably like a type C personality.
See, I think we work good together because the point is that you have to have some kind of direction where you're going in anything like this. and in life, you have to have direction. But spontaneity is fun. Spontaneity is good. So I'm okay with that.
Spontaneity is sometimes a word that is hard to pronounce.
Are you looking at yourself when you talk, or do you look at?
I noticed that I look a little bit like a deer in the headlights almost at times. Well, maybe because I have a big gigantic light in my face. We have 2 gigantic lights right now in our face. And guess what? Neither of these lights are lighting me properly. It's like my face is so big that only one side, it's like the dark side of the moon over here, and this is the light side of the moon.
What's your phone on?
I'm going to show them a picture of this. Do you see these big lights? And you would think that the big lights would light me, but they're not lighting me.
Okay.
What are we talking about right now?
C.
I know we're talking about C, but we were talking about organization or something.
Yeah.
Where are we
list.
at?
What's our list? I think we can jump to my last point that I have.
Thank God, because we're at 30 minutes.
Okay, yeah. So
we have to wrap.
All right, the last segment I want to talk about today is called Hope for Humanity. It's always nice to end on a positive note.
Yes.
And with the letter C, my letter C is cattle panels.
That's a good one.
Cattle panels. Today
we're putting them on the outside of our beds to keep us in.
Yeah. Well, okay. So I have lots of purposes for these new cattle panels. We needed them. We have sheep we want to move. We want to get pigs. We have a goat that we're trying to separate. So those are the purposes for these. But the problem is that they're 16 feet long. And so we've needed them for a while, but getting them to us has always been the challenge. And I put it out on social media the other day. Hey, we need help if anybody has a trailer. And here's why it's Hope for Humanity, is because our dear friend, shout out Melanie, who's on here, and she, of course, volunteered her husband.
Like as any good wife would do.
Yes.
Yeah.
And his beautiful toys, which he reminded me today, they're not toys, they're tools. Okay.
They are literally
same
tools
difference,
now,
but to me,
sure.
they're the same difference, right? But they so generously, we ordered them online. They went and picked them up, and I think even Tractor Supply has a method, hopefully that so less interference with.
Of course,
it's curbside pickup, and then he dumped them off in our yard here, and so that's what the Hope for Humanity is. That the hope is that we are all being good neighbors, even though we can't necessarily hang out. I worry about, we have neighbors around the corner that are older, and I wanted to knock on the door and just stand back and go, you guys okay? So that, that you're being good neighbors to one another the best that we can. And we have good neighbors here, good friends who are helping us out.
Amen.
Because we are desperate need of help. We don't have, I think that's our point with our homestead journey story, is that this channel is not boasting to have all the answers. We're not even boasting to have some of the answers. We're not even boasting to have the connections to how to get you the answers. But all we're wanting to boast is that if we can do it, you can do it. And
by doing like
you want to interrupt me?
Go ahead. No.
So, but we're not doing it alone. We're doing it with help, like good neighbors, like the Dumpsters, who are so helpful.
Yeah.
So that's our hope. My hope for humanity.
Our final C is conclusion. And we want to thank you for being a part of what we're doing. Please subscribe and like and all that good stuff. We can't do this without you. Well, technically, we probably could.
But nobody would be watching.
Well, it's possible we could do this without even people watching, because that's how we've done things for the last few years.
Yeah.
All right. Well, blessings to you. We'll see you tomorrow, Lord willing.
Take care. Stay safe and healthy.
And also, this is the most important thing, and make sure you do not forget this.
He's going to push the end button. Right?
Why would you tell them that?
Because that's so old. That joke is so old.
It is.